morning and welcome to another weekly update. Welcome to another week. So last week we had a kind of a reprise from the sort of Copilot stuff and the AI stuff, and we focused on a couple of things that were important to Microsoft 365 developers but were not part of Copilot. I think we're back on the Copilot train this week, looking at the things we're going to talk about. There is quite a lot of Copilot-y AI stuff. The first one I want to tell you about is a really excellent blog post, for pro-code developers in Microsoft 365, evaluating their options for building their own custom Copilot and wondering, what the pro-code scene looks like, because we've heard an awful lot of stuff, an awful lot of marketing-y stuff and noise and announcements and just general energy around the low-code way of building Copilots. And that completely makes sense because, there are way more non-pro-code people than there are pro-code people. And what you can do with Copilot Studio and some of the low-code tools with Copilot is really amazing and is really cool. And I'm really pleased that it's there. It's going to bring the Copilot capabilities, if you like, to so many people. And I think that's really, really good. But it can sometimes leave pro developers feeling like, well, what do we do? Is this where we go as well? Or is there a different, what if I want full kind of editorial development control over what's going on? What if I want to build my Copilot into existing solutions? What if I want to put it somewhere where it doesn't quite match up with the low code templates? And there is a pro code development path for building custom Copilots. This blog post that I'm going to show you in a minute is a really good place to start if that is you and you just want to understand your options. Or even I took loads out of this because even though I know roughly, I know I've done it. Like I know the routes you need to go down if you want to do this. And I've been building these Copilots, using pro-code solutions, then I think this was still a good blog post for just grounding it and seeing how Microsoft position pro-code in amongst the low-code stuff generally in kind of that development ecosystem. So let's get into this blog post because I thought it was really good. It's by three folks at Microsoft, and it really kind of covers in why you'd build a custom Copilot, why and how you do it. There's a couple of different options, whether you want to do the low code or the pro code. It evaluates those two, and then it digs into, okay, if you are going to do it pro code, here is how you could do it with an actual example. And it's not the only way you could do it, but it is probably the easiest route to doing it. So I'm just going to show you some of their images. We're not going to obviously go through all the text, but there's a good comparison here of low versus pro, kind of the environments, what you get, what you can do. This is the pro code kind of development stack, if you like, and where the different parts, where you can add your value, where Microsoft can come in and add their value, and how everyone can benefit. And so it goes through all that sort of stuff. And then the bit I want to come down here is some steps for, okay, you want to do this. What's the easiest way to do it? Well, the easiest way to do it is using Azure OpenAI and the Teams AI library together. So that takes you through that path with some screenshots of how you can do it. So I thought this was really good. Definitely worth a read. It's quite a long article. But I would say don't skip over all the text at the beginning because it's really useful grounding and really good information. So definitely go check that one out. It's a good weekend read or an evening read if you've got an iPad or something. Kind of sit downstairs and you can kind of go through that blog post and enjoy it. All right, on to the next thing. And a blog post about the Microsoft 365 developer program that I'm including kind of for two reasons. Firstly, to remind you about the Microsoft 365 developer program. If you didn't know about it already, we have definitely talked about it in the past. It is a great opportunity for you to take if you are a developer in this space. Microsoft will give you a development tenant, an E5 developer subscription for free. So you can build things on it and try things out, put test data in and all the rest of it. The reason I am including this, and you should go through this article because there are a couple of things that are changing. The one I want to draw your attention to is more frequent renewal checks. Okay, so this is actually come on the back of the Microsoft Secure Future initiative, which is their big security drive at the moment. And as part of that, I guess they're tightening things up everywhere. And I guess a potential attack vector are these kind of unused developer tenants lying around. So they're going to be doing more frequent renewal checks on your developer tenant. I think if you're an actual developer doing actual development work, you're going to be absolutely fine. I did go through the terms and conditions that are linked there as well, just to try and understand what it would mean, and if there are any details on what does it exactly mean to have a dormant tenant, like how frequent is frequent. None of that stuff is in the terms and conditions, but it does say, if I've read it correctly, and you should go and do the same because, disclaimer, I think it says that Microsoft will reach out to you before they actually kind of turn it off completely and say, hey, we think your tenant is inactive, you should do something about that, or we're going to take it away. So I think that Microsoft will warn you before they do it. But just to let you know, if you're actively developing on your developer tenant, I think it'll be fine. If you're not actively developing on your developer tenant and you want to keep it, maybe it's worth kind of maybe trying that example from the first blog post on your tenant, just to keep using it, because it looks like Microsoft are going to kind of crack down a little bit on what's going on. Okay, we had some big news in the week around the website tab in Teams and what that means. And so there's going to be some changes coming to how websites are rendered in Teams, specifically when you use the website tab. So I'm only telling you this because you're going to hear people talking about it, and you're going to worry that this affects your app. It does not affect your app. Does not affect tabs that are rendered inside apps. Okay, this is not that at all. This is users going and adding a new tab and choosing the website app and then putting the website into there. It's not going to break completely. What is going to happen though is that those websites are going to open in a new browser window. So they're not going to open within the Chrome of Teams. They're kind of essentially like pop out into a new window, except it's going to be Edge. So that's coming soon. Honestly, I think this kind of makes sense for Microsoft. Lots of websites don't like being rendered in iframes. Like if you're an app developer and you are, one of your things is putting websites in tabs, you'll know how painful this is. I guess Microsoft just don't want to deal with this anymore. They don't want to deal with the support tickets of, users legitimately using the website tab and putting their favorite websites in it and then wondering why they don't load because they don't support being embedded in iframes, or the security model doesn't work, pop-ups don't handle correctly, and all the rest of it. So instead, they're going to just see a open in browser window instead, and it's going to open in their browser. And I think probably that's the best. Like, it's going to be a bit clunky, honestly, but I think it's probably the best overall experience for users, because it means that when that web page loads and renders, it's going to be the real deal. Like, they're going to get the proper website experience, not some kind of half version that is happening inside Teams. So that's all cool. That's coming soon. I just wanted to let you know that because you might see it happening and worry that your app is affected. It should not be. All right, and finally, there's a new Learn I don't know what they're called really, guide, I suppose, walkthrough for debugging your AI chatbot using the Teams app test tool. This is cool. We talked about the Teams app test tool quite a bit a few weeks ago, so I won't go into it. But just know there's a walkthrough that you can go through just to understand how to use the Teams app test tool to do debugging specifically of your AI chatbot, because everything is AI this week. Okay, I think that's everything this week that I wanted to talk about. Whatever it is you're doing this week, I hope you have a very good time, and I will speak to you again next time.